Unmasked by Mad Millennials. So this is a podcast, a radio show, whatever we feel like doing on the day. And basically it's all about music industry and mental health. If you don't know what Mad Millennials is, we're a non-profit organisation which supports mental health, made by millennials, for millennials, and just kind of adapting that. We're all just winging it, no one has a clue what they're doing, and just trying to support each other in the most transparent way that we can around mental health. So today I've got the amazing Artio, and we're going to talk about mental health, music industry, and everything that comes along with it. So do you guys just want to introduce yourselves, pronouns, and what you do in the band?
Yeah, my name's Ewan, my pronouns are he, him, and I play the drums.
My name's Ray, my pronouns are they, them, and I sing, ?
My name is Rob, I play guitar and do some vocals.
I don't have pronouns.
Oh, he
He doesn't have a pronoun. He's just an entity.
And I'm Jay, I also play guitar and my pronouns are they, them.
Fab. So it would be rude to ignore the fact that we've already done an interview about 7 months ago with 50% of the band, but then life got very lifey, so it took me ages to edit. So what we're going to do today is we're going to revisit some of the videos and stuff that we did last time, and then we're going to add the input of 50% of the band that wasn't here last time. So first of all, do you want to just talk a little bit about the experience of what we did within the interview last time?
Well, when we did the interview 7 months ago, I was not in the best of places, and these guys weren't also free. So it's not the most lovely telling of the band I could give, and I feel like I've changed a lot since then, and a lot has changed since then. And I feel like it's not the most accurate telling of what RTO is now. It was a very sad and very, very not very happy Ray back then. I feel like I should probably put a better face forward now.
But I think it is interesting because I think no matter how, like, where you are in life, like your mental health, it does, you know, it changes all the time, and you learn things about yourself, and you learn different like coping strategies or ways to kind of like just see the bigger picture and to be able to like emotionally regulate. So I think it's really good that we can reflect on like the past as well. So to start off with, do we want to just talk a little bit about our own experience with our own mental health, go into as little detail or as much detail as you want, like make sure you're comfortable with it, and if you guys just want to reflect on maybe a little bit more of what you spoke about last time compared to now. But before you answer I'll show the 2 clips of when I asked you this last time.
I fortunately don't struggle with anything major that I'm aware of yet. But
Would be nice.
But my experience mainly is living with and being friends with lots of people that do struggle with that stuff, and kind of learning how to kind of communicate and navigate with them in a way that's supportive, that doesn't belittle people, and just making sure that I can also protect myself in a way that, and while being supportive to my friends and the people I'm with, and my bandmates as well, especially you guys.
No, well, I've got depression and anxiety. I have autism. I'm in the process of getting diagnoses for possible other things as well. I have a very spicy brain, and that has caused a lot of problems in my life, really. Like, I've always had a lot of socialising issues because of being very different from other kids, and I'm also non-binary, so I was always different from the other girls. Shocker, now I'm not one, but like that, it was just I had a lot of issues with socialising with my peers, so I've always been quite lonely. So when kind of COVID happened, it wasn't anything new to me to be lonely again. So I don't think it hit me really hard, but I've always had that thing of I don't see people. I have a very select few people, like this fine gentleman here, and then my other 2 band members, Rob and Jay, and then a couple other really close friends of mine that, like, you know, I die for them. But I struggle with socialising a lot of the other time, so that wasn't that different.
That's a sad motherfucker right there. I'm alright now, to be fair. I don't really know what's changed. I feel like I'm on antidepressants, but I'm not.
Okay.
Like, I was on antidepressants for a while, slay, it made me worse. So I'm not on them anymore, and like, I don't know what age your frontal cortex is supposed to finish developing. I don't think I'm that age yet.
I think it's 25.
Is it 25? Okay,
Yeah.
well I'm 4 years shy of that, but for some reason one day it just went, and I was like, slay, I don't need to spend money on therapy, that's well now. So all of us, I feel fine now. I haven't had like a bad time. Besides, like, I mean, the autism's still there, that ain't going anywhere. But like I said, that my brain is spicy there. It's more like flour now. It's like it's still annoying sometimes, but I haven't had a moment where I would like to do bad things in months, and that's the first time in 8 years. So I'm like pretty good right now, to be fair. So my experience has been bad, but right now I'm kind of fire. So.
We
I'm
love
alright.
to see it. We love to see it.
Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty much the same as I was there, which is good news.
You're consistent, I like it.
Yeah, everything's pretty okay with me. I've had more time to like think about myself because thankfully a lot of my close peers have been doing better for themselves recently, so it gives me a bit more time to worry about what I'm worrying about. But I think that's good. It means I'm still here. It's pretty good. Everything's cool in this world. I like it. In Van World, Pyro Kid had just come out.
dropped.
Yeah, literally.
Like, literally, Hush Money wasn't even out yet.
I've not been great, but like I'm much better now than I was. Yeah, I mean, to sum it up, surely. It's a lot. So
Yeah.
it just be here all day, really.
Yeah.
Into it,
I think sometimes it can be like really overwhelming as well, like when someone asks like how is your mental health, because it's like where do you even start and where do you end as well.
Yeah,
like
it's like came out of like a load of like substance abuse like disorder and stuff, and like sober now and whatnot, so like that massively helped. But then I had to realise that I was doing that because I got other problems, and then I was like, like how do I deal with this? But now I'm like way better than I was, and that's like, I'm glad I didn't do something like then, because I don't know what I was up to then, but back then I wasn't really good either, because I was like coming out of like a really bad time, but then I was still bad, and I was like kind of just pretending I was like, I'm fine. But yeah, kind of delusional, and then I had like a little wake up call, and then started getting my life back together a little bit, and feel better now, but it's just
that's good.
I'm a lot more. Again, I was on antidepressants for a while, and that was the same thing. It was just like everything is just like grayscale. It's just like, and it's just boring. And then I came off them, and I was like, I don't need them. But then I was like, wow, I'm manic. And then I was just like, no wonder I did them, because I just go boom, 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 like that, and it's just managing that, and and still figuring it out, but way better. Like,
That's good. I think it's really interesting as well about like the meds, because I think obviously in an ideal world, like you wouldn't just be putting people on meds, like you'd be getting like a therapy like as well alongside it.
For free?
Yeah.
What?
What a world. Yeah, but obviously just the way that the NHS and everything is at the minute, like that's just not possible. But I think medication doesn't always agree with people, and I think a lot of people say like what you have just said about like it does kind of like dull them and kind of just makes them feel like they're watching their own life kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's easier to do that as well, and some people like do need them.
Yeah.
Which is,
It works for some people, which is great.
But a lot of the time, someone will be going just through like a rough time in their life, and they'll instantly get chucked on meds, which is just like
They use it
like
like
bad
instant problem solver.
It doesn't solve
and you can
anything,
get
does it?
dependent on them as well, so it's really dangerous.
And then coming off from the withdrawals, awful.
Is
like,
it? Yeah.
Oh man, but back when I came off them, because I was on them because I was bad, I was awful. It was dangerous and I was not safe. I'm good now. I'm fine. But I was on them, and it made me feel okay for like 2 weeks. I was like, yo, man, this is what normal brains feel like. This is great. And then I just went like, douche, and I was like worse than I was. I couldn't cry, couldn't do other things. Like nothing worked, right? And like I cried a lot, so it was like really strange that I wasn't crying. And then when I came off them, I was like, I rang my like GP. I was like, I need to try another one because this is making me worse. And they were like, yeah, okay, we can get you another one in like maybe a month. And I was like, I don't have enough to last me a month, so I had to come off them anyway. And I had to come off them cold turkey. And oh my god, the withdrawal! Ewan had to walk me to work a couple times. because I was like dizzy and falling over, and I was like hallucinating stuff. It was awful. So then when they were like, "Oh, I've got your prescription," I was like, "Don't bother."
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm not going back on them because I don't want to have to withdraw from them again." So I'm raw dogging it at the minute. But to be fair, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Put it
If it works for you, that's incredible.
Exactly.
If it went, great. If it worked for you, but they did the opposite for me.
Yeah, I think it is. It's very trial and error, isn't it? Kind of figuring out what does work for you in terms of like supporting your own mental health. And I think that's why a lot of people do like can have conversations and be like, I know now that this was a trigger for me or something like that. But it's just very trial and error in terms of like figuring out what works for you. And if something works for you, go for it. It doesn't really matter what the next person's doing.
It's weird because I was on there for like a year and a half or something, but like I didn't feel like me. Like I was thinking back, and I was just like before, like I was on them, I like felt just like more, I don't know, like. But then I like alive, quote unquote. But then like I forgot about what I actually started going on, and then I was like, oh yeah, I get it now. But also, I just didn't feel myself like at all. Like I felt so just, and like started just questioning like, why am I showing them? And then I started like just missing them on days and whatnot. And I was just like, I'm just gonna take the plunge from here because they also forgot about me as well.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, that sounds like something that happens quite a lot, which is
I remember I got
ridiculous.
forgotten about by a therapy service to do with alcohol, and it was really bad. It was for alcohol, and I was like, I got really mad at them because they just didn't reply to me, and they basically dropped me off. So I then just started drinking again. And it's just like when the service wasn't available, it made it so much worse. It was just because they were there and then they weren't instantly, and it was because the person I was working with or whatever had left, which is like it happens. But they didn't set up an alternative, and that really annoyed me.
And I think it's so like you feel so defeated as well because it's so hard to reach out to kind of get support for your mental health. So then if you've already done that and then someone's just kind of gone, yeah, sound, and then forgot about you 2 weeks later, like you're like, why am I even trying? Kind of thing.
You feel like it's not going like both ways. It's just like, you put in the effort and then they're just like, sorry. You get angry.
Yeah.
So I mean, coming to uni and moving away from home because I'm not from the north of England. I moved from down south, as I famously said before. I'm not from here!
Can you give the context for that?
We got asked to say like, fun fact about ourselves. And I got really panicked. I was like, I don't know anything fun. I'm not from here.
And I was like, wow, I'm so
Good.
From a distant land.
Cheers, Jay. But no, so like, moving away from home was quite tough, especially during COVID. So it was like I moved away and then wasn't able to see family for quite a while because of all the COVID things, which was rough. But I also struggled a lot with sort of like my own self-esteem. It's led me to sort of like spiral down at times, just going like, oh, what's the point? I suck, even though I don't. Like,
yeah, you really don't.
Yeah, you do.
it's like I understand that now, but at the time, like just over a year ago, I was proper down in the dumps. Like again, I mentioned it before, but I struggle a lot with alcohol. Much better now. It's like one of those things where I've sort of, I wouldn't say I was in the healthiest of sort of like places, like relationships wise with certain people. I've now sort of found my people, and it's only really been in the last year that I sort of realised like, damn, like sometimes they were like the best of friends, other times they were not the best, best. But yeah, so it's just like realising who my real friends are and people that would really support me, and it's like, it's nice. I've seen a big change in myself, and like being able to truly be authentic to myself instead of trying so desperately to be the best I can be whilst actually just going, oh no, I suck.
Yeah.
Instead it's now like I've got the people around me that support me and want me to do well, which is nice.
Amazing. That leads us really nicely on to our next question, because I was going to ask you, is there anything that you're doing at the moment or maybe done in the past that helps with your mental health or just helps you feel better in general? Any kind of tips you can share? Or
Mate, I've got no idea why I'm so good right now, so I can't actually give any evidence. I don't have the receipts. I mean, I don't know, like things that help me a lot is I get understimulated a lot, and sometimes that can leave me alone with my thoughts, and I get really bored and I spiral and maybe don't because I've recovered from a lot of things now, but it doesn't mean that I don't still want to do them. It just means that I've developed enough of I guess it's self-control that I don't do them, but it doesn't mean that I want to do it any less. So I just kind of I just use distraction, but like positive distraction, like I will watch something, or I've got like a bag of fidget toys that I just sit there. I just literally play with fidget spinners. People laugh their asses off at me, but it actually works so well. You and last me, I balance them on my nose and everything, but like anything to make my brain diverge from that thing, go away from it. I just do that at the minute. I honestly can't remember. I've blanked out a lot of the past few years, so I can't remember what I did when I wasn't feeling good. Probably a good thing because it wasn't healthy mechanisms. But at the minute, I'm just like finding ways to comfort myself and keep healing without reverting to bad mechanisms anymore.
I mean, the other thing that really keeps me sane is probably just writing music, to be honest. That's all I do.
Yeah.
I work
That's
and
so
then
metal.
I work and then
Music,
I work, and even when I'm working, I think like I'm just thinking of things to write. That's literally it, and I've just got like endless voice memos of like things that I just go through when I'm home, and then put that together, and then I've just got like loads of things. Because if I'm just sat doing nothing, like if I'm just thinking up here, like just sat by myself, it's just like the worst thing ever. So
I think that builds off what Jay said before about being like authentically yourself. Like I think I said this last time, like just doing music is probably what definitely keeps me chugging along, and that's because that's something that makes me feel like I'm authentically being myself. As long as I'm getting on with that, I feel like I'm being very true, and it just keeps me going for sure. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've very much a lot of the time when I start to feel down, it's like I feel guilty for not doing anything. And then I've sort of recently gone like, oh, you know what, it's good that I'm not doing anything. I can actually spend that time to just relax and take time off. So I was trying to allocate myself some time during the week where I can, I don't know, go for a nice walk down, because I walked down by the canal the other day, spent the whole day doing it, and it was so good. Because it meant that I came back and I was like clear head, I just had a nice day out, and then I was able to work for the rest of the evening and not feel stressed.
Yeah.
Or like just going out, seeing people and doing things like that, never letting yourself feel guilty for not doing stuff. Because sometimes you can be like, oh damn, I'm looking at other people doing things going, oh I wish I could be doing that, but it's like, actually you're doing a lot, and the fact that you're thinking that you're feeling like guilty for not doing anything is going to make it worse. It's like spending that time actually putting it towards doing something good.
You're doing a lot by just getting up and breathing. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you wake up and take another breath, that's a win's a win.
Yeah.
A win is a win. Take it, man.
I make lists saying stuff like have breakfast, have a shower, just simple things like that, just to go like, you know what, I'm doing good. Like, if I can do that each day, keep myself healthy, keep myself like fairly stimulated, it's like cool. That's all you really need.
Yeah. So you sort of gave me loads of points. I'm like, so first of all, I just want to say about what you said in terms of the idea of giving yourself that time to, you know, just have some downtime, because I think sometimes it can be more productive giving ourselves that time and actually letting ourselves recharge than feeling like, you know, we do need to be doing all these things, because if our energy is down here and we're trying to, you know, do stuff, then it's just going to drain us more. So I think one of like my old clients used to say that they'd allocate like a mental health day like once a week, and I just thought that's such a good idea, because then you're just taking all the pressure off yourself and you're just waking up and going, what do I want to do today? Like, what does it feel like I want to do today, rather than what should I be doing today? Which is really good. And I think what you have just said about kind of like songwriting and stuff, we are going to come on to that a little bit. But I just wanted to say it also kind of gives you that like accomplishment and also that purpose as well. Like, you know that like you're putting your energy into something that's going to, you know, produce something, and you're going to see that in the future, and you've got like a vision and a mission for it as well. And like when you talk about well-being, like there's 5 different pillars of like well-being which we talk about in uni, and one of them is like purpose and like accomplishments as well. So that's all kinds of really good like protective factors for your mental health. So we will move on to the songwriting, because I know last time we did you were talking about the songwriting process being really therapeutic for you, and you were talking more about the beat sides of it being therapeutic for you. So I just wanted to see, in terms of the songwriting process now, has anything changed? What are your input on it at all?
We're just all writing a lot more together than we ever have done before, really. Like usually before it was, things were fairly separated. Like I would definitely do my bit, and then Ray would do their bit, and Rob would do his bit.
Yeah,
this was before Jay joined as well.
And I wasn't here.
The first stuff that I did was, I remember like just like here are some songs, and I just like become a full-time member, but then COVID hit, so it was like just do guitar parts and send them over. So that was like the first writing experience I had, and I went from usually doing it in like a room like with the band, you know, you go to a rehearsal and you do it in like 3 hours, which now is just like so alien to me. Whereas now it's so normal to
So we're all still doing everything like on
box.
a computer in the box, but definitely trying to be way more collaborative, and I think it's kind of bringing stuff out of us that feels very much like a group effort and something we're all really proud of, which makes it a bit more fulfilling as well, I find. I'm really enjoying like us working together the way that we are now.
My lyric writing has changed like dramatically, because what we used to do, like anything before Pyro Kid that's like still released, that was all done in the pandemic. We were all writing separately and away from each other, and I was in very bad places, and it's all, you know, the lyric content hasn't really changed that much, but I'm a lot more reflective now. But like it's so much nicer bouncing my ideas. Like I won't write alone anymore. Like, that's all I used to do. And now I'm like, oh, can you write with me? Jay, can you have a couple hours? Rob, can you bounce this idea? Like, you know, like you, and can you sit in the room with me while I'm writing? And people that aren't even in the band, like good friends of mine. Writing was therapy for me, and I still enjoy it and I love it so much, but it was like one of the only ways that I ever spoke about what I was going through. And because I think recently, I don't know how, I seem to have I don't need that as much anymore. I feel a lot more balanced and a lot more stable. That for me now, writing is just really fun. And it's not just like a thing I need to do because if I don't do it, I'm not talking to anyone. It was an outlet, and now it's an enjoyable, like, you know, job. That's something I want to do and not like I have to do. I just feel like I've gotten a lot more, like, I don't share very much. Like I'm very like this is my things. I don't touch this, don't do this. And with this, I've completely changed, and I'm like, can I use your lyrics? Can I, like, you know, I've had people write down that if members of the band were going through something, I'm like, write down your feelings. I'm going to change your words into lyrics for me, and I'm happy to tell other people's stories now because I don't feel like mine. Like I don't have that much to say about my own brain anymore, and I'm happy to tell other people's stories now, which I never used to do. I was like, this is my song and I'm writing about my problems. Now I'm like, you got anything going on? Because I need some stimulation, tell me your shit, like, you know. So it's really nice now. I feel like I've opened up a lot more, and lyrics have changed a lot. So thanks for putting up with me.
Yeah, that's like such a sick idea as well. There is, you know, giving people that opportunity and that safe space to be able to word vomit on a piece of paper and then turn it into something.
Well, I'm like, I don't have any stimulation for my own stuff. So like, can you tell me what you're feeling, what you're going through, if I know someone's going through a tough time? And I'm like, give me, and then I'll take it and I see it as like, I need to turn this into lyrics, and it needs to rhyme, it needs to fit the syllables, it needs to fit the bar. So I'm seeing writing as something really fun now, not something that's like, if I don't talk about what I'm going through right now, someone's gonna section me. And now I'm just there like, damn, this is fucking fun. So I'm a lot happier with how I'm writing now.
I never used to like write about anything I went through and stuff. I remember like one time, like, I remember like mum always was just like, why don't you just like write about like what you're going through, blah, blah, blah. And it just wasn't that simple. Like I really couldn't. Like it was just like the last thing I wanted to do. I was just like, ignore it, it's fine. But now I've like same time just started like writing about stuff like that and just sort of like working through that and actually just thinking about it and not being like scared to like think about like stuff that's happened and whatnot, and that's been sort of like way better for me to like open up and sort of feel more comfortable as well with like writing lyrics. Like recently I've just wrote some lyrics and stuff, but I did that was really fun. That was just like sort of in the moment, and I was just like, cool, alright, we'll just set aside like half an hour and let's just go to town on it. And that was, you know, but I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't sort of like let myself just like chill out and like not just like ignore loads of stuff. And yeah, so writing's become a lot easier for me, and especially doing in group work as well, because obviously isolated for so long it was just an absolute nightmare, because I was like I missed having that rehearsal room sort of like bouncing ideas off of each other like in person, but obviously it works way better just sat in the studio. Like I couldn't do the whole like, you know, meet up and be like, right, we've allocated this time to write a song and we're gonna write a song in these 3 hours, because I remember trying to do that like in other projects I've done, and it just fizzles out, and you just sat there just like twiddling your thumbs like, what do we do? We all like it's just like writer's block, and so
No.
so now everything just like flows way easier for me.
Yeah.
And your lyrics are sick as well.
They're okay. They're getting better. Because I remember like when someone would be like, "Oh, just write about what you're going through." I'm like, I just can't put it into like a good.
We've swapped, haven't we?
So now I'm like, but obviously I've listened to way more music and my taste has expanded and whatnot, and different styles of writing lyrics and whatnot, being more esoteric and more literal and straight, you know, and like trying to like mix different ways of writing together and actually like looking at how people do lyrics and like syllables, you know, even down to all that. It's just like, this is how I feel, but does it sound good in the song?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just, you know, just looking at different ways to write them.
Bro uses big words.
Yes. Yeah.
What does esoteric mean?
Yeah, I used that. I was like,
it's just sort of like vague and like you don't really know. It could mean like multiple things.
Yes.
The more you know.
Like that from Corey Taylor. He was just like, I mean, my lyrics more esoteric. And I was like, what does esoteric mean? And I was like, ooh,
Mr. Taylor.
I was like, I get it now. Yeah. So instead of being really like in your face and this is what's happening, and it's like, oh wow, it's sort of like hinting towards the different things, like, you know, because that lyric could mean like 7 different things.
Yeah.
I like writing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it can leave it open to like the audience can, you know, apply that to their own life in some way. Because I could be going through something completely different, but it might apply to them in a completely different context, and you know, so we like connect over the same thing but for different reasons.
Definitely.
Which is kind of cool.
I think that's what's like so healing about music, because I think I spoke about this a little bit last time, is I love music, but I'm a listener type of music. Like I can't write, I'm not very creative in terms of that, but I think it's so healing, the fact that you can apply it to your life and it is open to interpretation, and there might be a lyric that you listen to and you have a bit of like a light bulb moment to be like, okay, I'm not the only person in the world who's, you know, felt that way or had that thought or something like that. When you were saying, you know, like in the past when people had recommended for you to write about how you were feeling and stuff, just how important it is to, it can't always happen like if you're not ready, do you know what I mean? Like it has to come at a time when you're ready to be able to do that.
It had been so forced as well.
Yeah.
Like I knew that it had just come across like really like cringy, or you know, and I wouldn't have been like all the way, like, because I wasn't comfortable with it, and if I'm not comfortable with doing something, I'm just not going to do it. So yeah, it wasn't for me then, and I didn't think, I just thought, like, I put it in my head like, I can't do this, I'll just stick to writing this, and you know, I'm just good at guitar, I'll just do that, and like, and just not let myself just give it a go.
Yeah.
And if I'm bad at it, I'm sure Ewan would let me know. So like if I bring something like and it's not good, he's not gonna go like, oh, that's sick. He's gonna go like, you know, just be like, maybe like to tweak this, or like, yeah, maybe in another thing, or you know, it's like if we're doing takes, and I know when I've done a bad take, because I'll know if I've done one anyway, and I don't even have to say anything, but he'll just go, just one more.
Yeah.
And then like,
he does that.
and it's just but it's like saying it without saying it, and I'm like, yeah, completely understand.
Know,
like, you know,
just another one.
But like, I usually know if I mess up, but sometimes I won't, and then I'll just say just one more, and I'm like, okay, cool. You know, but that means that, you know, I've got another set of ears to hear, because I might think that sounded sick, but like someone else might be like, oh.
That's why it's good we don't write in isolation anymore.
Exactly.
Because we're not bouncing ideas off our walls, we're bouncing off of each other.
Or there might be, you know, a little intricacy in like a guitar part, like I might make a mistake or something.
Yeah, and I think also it comes down to that idea of being able to put like egos down so that you can kind of, you know, hear when things need changing and stuff like that. And I think within like bands and stuff, I think sometimes that's where people kind of struggle a little bit, you know, when things do need tweaking and stuff like that, because they take it like personally and kind of think like, oh, like they're attacking, you know, what I'm doing and my talent. But if you have got that comfortability and that trust, like you said, between each
there's
other.
There's definitely moments where like we'll go for each other.
But there's sometimes
we will take it
don't
personally.
You take my fucking idea out.
But there's sometimes you actually like, really believe in them. Like so sometimes like 99% of the time, if I get told like, you can just try it like this, or just do this because I think it might sound better, I'm like, yeah, sure, go for it, and we'll try it, and then just compare like 2, 3, 4 different takes or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes I might be like, no, that will sound better, or like, you know, it's a bit. It just depends, because most of the time when you've said this might sound better, and I'm like, oh, whatever, okay, we'll do it, cool. Just like a little bit reluctantly, but I'll do it because it's like, why not? You know, you might as well try. and then I play the rest of the song. I'm like, oh yeah, actually yeah, what I was playing was like crap, like compared to what the.
And we'll always meet at a point where we're all happy. If we get to that through like fighting the hell out of each other, or really easily, like we'll always do it. I remember it was that one time where me, Ray, and Jay were writing. It was like one of the first times that Jay'd been writing with us, and we were working on like this little like quiet interlude track. I'm talking to Ray about some ideas, and I really wanted Ray to try and like interweave some stuff from some other songs we've been working on. And
I was being an absolute twat. Like I can reflect. I was awful. I was like, I don't know what was going on with me, but like I was insulting things, and I was like, that's lazy songwriting, Ewan. And I was getting like proper primary school on his ass, and like Jay was just sat in the corner, just like,
no, you're lazy.
I was very kindly like trying to navigate all this because like we've done this dance loads of times.
Yeah.
But that's
I never experienced that before.
Jay's never seen like that level of confrontation in like songwriting before, and eventually like we did meet in the middle and
I did exactly what he said.
Yeah,
I did it on every song.
Write some shit that we were really proud of. Write some shit that we were really proud of. But I asked Jay, I was like, "You alright?" And you were just like, "Can you guys stop?" And we're like, "This is this isn't fighting. This is called constructive songwriting."
It's like I actually like doing that. I've been in like rehearsal rooms and had full blown arguments with people because there's like you've had like one person who's like so stubborn that they like on an idea and they'll be like no, like it's my way or no way, and it's just like, and then you've got other people just like going off and be like and all falling out and stuff, and that is like the worst. And so when it's like constructive criticism and like being like, well, no, I really don't like that idea, and it's like, well, why don't you like it? And then just having like a conversation. It's better to do that instead of just be like twiddle your thumbs and be like,
because then everyone gets pissed off.
It's like, yeah, what do you like about it? Oh no, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah. It's sort of just like passive, and it's you need to just be straight up and honest and be like, what do you like? It's like, I don't like this bit, and it's like, why? And then work over it, and you can come to a like middle ground.
Problem solving.
I think because we're so close as a unit, like that everyone will like fight our corner really hard. Because I think we've all been in other projects or just different situations where we felt really backed into a corner and we've not felt like we can be listened to. So we all like proper go ham at each other now. I love them and I die for them. But if I have an idea and I want them to hear it, they'll fucking hear it.
Obviously, the last time we met, Pyro Kids had just dropped, and you have been very busy bees since then. So, do you want to talk a little bit about what's been going on?
Damn. It's been really busy stuff, to be fair. Like we have had, is it 5 singles? Pyro Kid, Hush Money, Worthless, Unhinged. But yeah, we've had 5 singles out. Got an EP coming out. We've been on 2 tours. UK tour, King No One, tour. Yeah, we've been really busy. We've been playing live shows, doing a lot of writing. But yeah, like just a lot of stuff. Really working really hard, making a lot of content. I'm a TikTok bitch now. But that's another thing I can reflect on is that I was so out. Like I was not doing TikTok. I was like nah. And the label, who are very wise, were like, Ray, please do it. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, like
we aren't selling out.
I'm not doing it. And then they were like, please try. And I was like, okay, just because you said so. And then I did it, and it did really well. And I was like, damn.
The important thing is it connected with the community.
Yeah.
But it's doing it in a way that's genuine instead of doing it in a way that's like selling out.
Yeah, we didn't just like hit the algorithm to a load of NPCs who were just going to stream the track once and then forget about it. It's like
it's genuine connection.
It's
the important part.
It's authentic.
Everyone in the comments,
so many people
loves it. Like they like diehards. So that's like
it's so cute.
That's exactly what we wanted as well. We didn't want to just be projected to it like a larger, like millions of people who don't really care. They're like, oh, that's all right. One bit like we would rather have like 1,000 people that just absolutely love it than
That's what I've just spent my entire time just like creating, because like I came off tour and I was like, I want the next one to be bigger. How do I do this? And
TikTok.
You guys need to get on this shit. But I tried really hard with like upping my content game, and I've also done all the music videos. So I've done the Worthless video, I did the Unhinged video, I did the product video. So I've been very busy doing that. And then just basically, we've just not really stopped. And we've not really got much time off. I think we might have a little bit of time off over summer before the next era begins. But then I don't know. God knows what's going to happen. You'll find out.
How do you find balancing it being so busy? Like, obviously, it must be quite tricky to take time for yourselves and to be able to ground yourselves and just chill and recharge. So, how have you been finding that?
I don't know.
That's probably the hardest.
That's the hardest
thing
question.
right now. It's like I'm not going to pretend that I have an answer because I think the thing I'm struggling with most is like time allocation for everything. Like there aren't enough hours in the day for me to do everything that I want to do. I try to enjoy all the ARTIO'S stuff I'm working on and use that
Let's
as a
say it like
break.
that while
No,
looking at
but
us.
I try.
I try
No,
to
I try
tolerate
to,
you
it's
guys.
But it's like I try and treat that as like my downtime. I do this because I enjoy it, but at the same time there is that there are stakes like riding on it, and like it's I want that to be my job as well.
It
is like work, but it's fun work. It's not. It's like when I'm going to like doing some writing or bringing ideas over, like after doing some writers notes, like it's not just like leisure and have fun. Like there is like a target, but also it's fun. I'm not going like, gotta go work.
Gotta go see you.
Gotta go sit with you for 6 hours. God help me. Like it's.
You sent me with your fucking downtime.
No, like it is.
Leisure
fun.
time sounds weird.
But there isn't a lot of like time off really. But I enjoy being really busy. But also, I'll still complain. Obviously, I'm like, I'm barely sleeping. But like, I also. Like, one, I love coffee, and two, I love music, so they go hand in hand. Just like, so it's fun.
What about you, Jay?
I think, I definitely struggle with like making a balance, but I think we all kind of do at times.
Yeah.
And it's the whole thing of like, making sure that the fun things stay fun. And it's like, especially when you've got work that's not music, it's the whole like making sure that you can create a balance between the two, make sure that you do the work, but then you also do the fun stuff, and you make sure the fun stuff stays fun and it doesn't collide with the other one. So it's like when I'm doing my work, I always make sure I go somewhere else that I don't do my fun stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a separation, isn't it? Because like all the stuff that we do in ARTIO, we all do it in the same place together. And then if I'm doing like working on something else, I make sure I'm as far away from anything that I like actively want to do as like a hobby.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm, I don't know, writing an essay or something, do it as far away as possible from where I write my music.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I've not really thought of before, because you do associate certain environments with certain kinds of like moods and like mindsets.
I used to very much just live in my bedroom, so it's like everything was done in that same space, and that's the whole thing that I've said before about the sort of like feeling guilty for not doing stuff, because you're always in the same space where you've got your laptop out and you've got this thing that's going, you've also got your guitars across the room, and you're like, I should really be practicing, or I actually need to sleep, or I actually need to make some food, and it's all there in the one place, and it kind of gets a bit much.
Yeah.
So it's like the spreading it out, going, I can go out of the house, go and do something else, go and do it somewhere else, change the scenery. Much more productive.
I can't give an honest answer as to how I'm balancing things, because I am, but I don't know how.
It's a goddamn
It's one of the mysteries of I honestly, people chat to me like, what are you up to? And I'm like, blah, 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 and they're like, how are you so busy? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I keep busy because I love everything I do. I sound so cheesy, please don't like slate me, but like
I love everything.
I love sunshine and rainbow. No, like I don't. I'm very stubborn. I won't do things I don't want to do. And I take on a lot because I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think because my brain was very, very loud for a very long time, I'm so used to keeping it constantly stimulated to not have one breath of time off, that I'm actually trying to get used to like being in my own company and chilling out. Because I that's not something I ever was comfortable doing. I also probably shouldn't have been. I wasn't allowed to be alone. It wasn't a safe thing for a man to do. But now, like, man, I'm getting into crocheting, and like, I'm like, I'm trying to do the opposite. But instead of trying to balance 3,000 things at once, I'm balancing it. So I'm trying to find ways to like chill out whilst doing it. Because I do a lot, but I like it. Like
Yeah.
I like the hype. I enjoy doing the stuff. Like I'll sit for 3 hours and do frame by frame of their faces. They're like constantly like going between strobe shots to get the perfect transition. Like it might sound tedious to somebody, but I love doing it.
Yeah.
So I won't hate anything I do. I just do a lot of stuff I like.
So I mean, it's fun to go like have to do some stuff that I don't want to do for like, quite a few hours, but then I know that like I'll get like another load of hours like when I get home to do something I want to do, and like I'm like whilst I've been doing the other job that I don't want to do, I'm like oh, I've got like 5 ideas just from the day. I'm just gonna go back and do those, like, and I'll just make sure I've recorded them and go back and do them. And I'm just like that, like keep me busy. Like I don't sometimes, you know, I don't want to. I do feel the same thing of like I don't want to. I feel like I'm doing nothing. Like get home and just slouch and go, oh, I'm knackered. But also
You need rest.
yeah, but then I'm like, but I need to write music. But then if I'm like that, I know that I probably shouldn't be doing it because I'll be at the chair just like, right.
Because you'll hate the music,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to give you as much time as possible to be able to talk about just the whole community that has kind of followed you on TikTok around the new single and just all the kinds of issues that are going on in the world with like the queer and trans community, and give you guys the platform to be able to talk about that. But just before I do it, there's a really nice clip from the last time that we did an interview that I just want to show you, because I think what you said, Ray, was really powerful in terms of just kind of with you being non-binary and, you know, like you growing up and wishing that you'd had someone on stage who was similar to you, and, you know, now you've got that opportunity to give that to the younger generation.
Me, insightful.
And to like, I feel like when I'm touring and I'm performing, I feel like I have a purpose of like, I'm doing something that 15-year-old me needed to see.
Yes.
Like the young kind of discovery that, oh my god, I'm mentally ill. And in high school, that age when I started going to gigs, I needed to see somebody that I felt was me on stage. And I saw a lot of very cool artists, but I never saw anyone that I was like, that's me. That's a piece of me up there. And I'm desperate to give that to the younger people than me that are coming up now, and hopefully seeing it like, I'm very open that I'm struggling. I'm very open that I'm autistic and I'm non-binary, and I don't care. And like, as long as you guys feel safe with me and I feel safe with you, then that's fine. And I want to provide that. So for me, touring and playing shows is like my thing that makes me feel better.
Yeah. I mean, I still stand by that. I just think it's important. I mean, like, I just enjoy doing this. It's fun, and it's more fun now for me than it ever has been. But there's a lot of really bad shit happening. I'm the best I've ever been musically. I really hope I'm not on the top of my game right now, because, you know, if it goes downhill from here, you heard it first. But like, you know, but like, I'm the best I've ever been in myself, in my head, in my body image, in my, like, you know, just with being comfortable with who I am. And the worst shit is happening in my entire lifetime around the world. Like, trans people are under attack. It's a borderline, well, it's been, you know, classified as a stage of genocide in the States right now. They're rolling back rights on trans and queer people everywhere, but like the countries that are like the Western countries that are supposed to be like freedom and, you know, like we're the center of the world, and they believe, you know, capitalism and all that shit, and it's supposed to be the best place to ever live, and it's becoming a terrible, horrific dictatorship, like dystopian type shit. And Products is like a song that is about queer liberty, and it's about religious trauma and like growing to love yourself even though everything around you is telling you not to. And that was written like almost over a year ago, or maybe just about a year ago, and scheduled for at least last May, I think. So like, you know, I didn't know this shit was coming, I hoped it wasn't. And it's just dropped at a time where it's like, I think it was needed, and I'm, you know, you might be able to tell by the lyrics and Products, I'm not a particularly religious guy anymore, but I do believe everything happens for a reason. And it's happened for a reason that we dropped this song. It's become our most streamed song of all time, which is pretty cool. And we dropped this song at a time where people were really needing something to speak to them whilst they're also rioting and protesting, but they'll also be feeling horrible about themselves because their governors, their lawmakers, their government in general is failing them, and the horrific, awful people crawling out of the woodwork now that have always been transphobic now think it's okay to do it publicly, and they're blaming school shootings on trans people when 2 or 3 school shooters out of thousands have been trans people, and the rest have all been cis men. I feel like that's the problem, not gonna lie.
That's
Sorry,
just
guys,
ridiculous,
but,
though, isn't it? Like,
the criminalisation and harm with the trans community right now is awful, and I'm feeling it. And and I'm not in the States, but I'm a trans and queer person in the UK, and I'm feeling it enough. I can't imagine. So people finding us and discovering us and clinging on to this right now, it's like, I feel like I've done that. Like what I was saying in that video, I'm like, God, I hope this isn't the end of the career. Like, you've peaked, done, but like I feel like I've done that already, which has made me even sadder, but also happier at the same time. That like, God, I need to keep doing it because the difference it's been making and seeing, and like people using the sound and like talking about how it's helping them, and that they've got it on loop, and someone commented like, can't wait to listen to this on loop whilst on the way to getting misgendered at my job. And I was like, bro, if I can give you that euphoria before you're about to go into something horrendous, we're about to go into war, and if this can give you something to hold on to, that people have felt that, I feel that, we're over the pond and we're with you. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done it, and I want to just do it again and again and again.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also like what you can see from TikTok as well, because as I was saying to you earlier, like I go on TikTok and I can just see like people who I don't follow like using the sounds, and it's so nice to see. But it's also it's an anthem, but it's also became like their anthem. Like it's like they've took like ownership over it, and you can see the emotion and it when they are like miming it or singing it as well. Like they're really feeling it, and I think again it comes back to that idea of once lyrics click with you and it helps you feel like you're not the only person in the world who's feeling like that. It really gives you that kind of that oomph a little bit. Yeah.
I'm just really proud of it. Like, I didn't write it with the intention of it doing that. I wrote it from a place of like trauma and religious trauma specifically. I grew up in the church and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with the church. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that people that in my life had weaponized organized religion in a means to control me and control people in general, and making me just feel wrong for being everything that I was. Like, I was like young and impressionable and mentally ill and sad and vulnerable, and these people were using that and abusing that. And someone told me that I wasn't depressed, it was the devil possessing me. And I was like, right, 13-year-old me is absorbing that, taking that to heart, and now I've developed a complex. Thank you. And I'm just like, fuck that shit, and anyone that's ever made to feel like that. But this song has taken on a whole life of its own. And I'm like, when I listen to it now in that context, I'm like, it was that. It's always been that, but it's always been this as well. And it's like what Rob was saying, like you can write something without meaning it to become something else, but it's turned into something that I'm so proud of, and I can't wait for people to hear the new stuff we've been writing. Because like Product was a turning point for me when I wrote it. I was like, shit, this is what I want to do, and I knew, I was like, this is gonna be the one. And these guys were like, I don't know, man.
I mean,
I don't know. And I was like, I got a good feeling about this. And they're like,
I mean, because originally
when
I did the riff and sent it to Ewan, and then Ewan sort of made it like the ARTIO'S sound. I remember we were like, there's no way this is gonna be like like something that might blow us up and whatnot. But obviously when the lyrics came in and whatnot, like it changed.
It was called Operation Get It Past Me for a while.
because at the time
they thought I was gonna say that.
At the time we were nowhere near as open to having like heavy influences from like sort of other genres that we like in the music. It's really cool to actually see people like get into it, because when we saw people getting into it, that was like when I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I can't do much, but if I can soundtrack your rage, that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all about being unapologetically yourself.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
With breakdowns.
Yeah.
With breakdowns.
With lots of
Yeah.
breakdowns.
Musically
Dirty
and
breakdown.
Musically and mentally.
Yeah. we have the rage chorus and then just instantly breakdowns.
So what can we do as like a society? Obviously, like we spoke about a little bit earlier, you know, we're across the pond, and obviously it is worse in the States, but there's still a lot of injustice kind of in the UK as well, towards like trans communities, queer communities. So what can we do as a society? Anything?
Leave us alone. Fuck off. That's all I can say. I mean, like, fight for trans people because no one else is gonna. Just, it doesn't matter. Like, no one can help it. Like, fight against like laws and bills being passed. You know, message your MP, Google it. But like, just respect people. It doesn't matter what someone's got in their trousers. Please don't let right-wing politics brainwash you. I don't care about the name of a gingerbread man. I just want to access top surgery and you to leave me the fuck alone. You know, I don't care about gingerbread thems or, you know, this shit. They're brainwashing you and making up propaganda to villainize trans and queer people so they can keep passing horrendous laws and you won't bat an eyelid because you've got a scapegoat. Stop letting that happen. Respect people. It doesn't matter what I've got on my trousers at all. Stop trying to make people conform to something that they won't. Respect us and leave us alone. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to what you were saying, Jay, is it's giving people that space to feel like they can be unapologetically, authentically themselves, and that they can be loved and accepted for that, no matter, you know, what shape or form that comes in. I think that's so important.
But it's just, it's one of those things where it's great if you can be like unapologetically yourself. It's a bit of a tongue twister. But it's the whole thing of like, it's a hard time too, because it's like,
it's a scary time.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like, no one should ever feel scared to step out of the house, and like lots of people do. And it's like, that shouldn't be something that anyone has to deal with, no matter who you are. Like, you shouldn't have to feel like terrified to go to the shops and just be you. Like, that's horrific.
I think a lot of people just need to learn their history as well. Like, before white colonialism, trans people have existed forever in many tribes, in many ancient, you know, societies. It's been around forever. Stonewall was a riot started by a trans woman. There's a lot of stuff going on at the minute about LGB without the T, and like they were called TERFs, but they're not feminists, because if you don't support all women, you're not a feminist. People using trans people as like, oh, not them, we're queer but we don't go with them. But you wouldn't have your rights if it wasn't for trans women and trans people. So, you know, if you're going to abandon us now, like, why did my people fight for you? You know what I mean? So I think it's just one of those things. It's so scary right now. I was terrified to release this song, and I expressed it, and I was like, I don't know, I kind of want to pull it. And then the label were like, can you guys, you know, do a TikTok campaign for this? Have you got a video for it and everything? And I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. I was, because this had all started bubbling as the release was coming up, and I was like, I'm fucking terrified. Didn't want to end up on the wrong side of the algorithm or just get berated, and I was scared. This is vulnerable stuff, and it had opened it up to a whole new can of worms with all the trans rights issues going on, and having 2 non-binary members in a band. It's a scary thing. Yeah. I'm so fucking glad I did it, and even if it had gone tits up and awful and we'd been full up of hate comments, even if a few people heard that song and it made them feel better, made them less scared, or even just made them angry if they're not trans but they're hearing it and it makes them angry and they're going to fight for us, I'll do it, and I'll do it again. Yeah. I'm just lucky that it did what it did and not made me cry, but I'd do it again, man. Yeah. I'll keep doing it if I can.
Just thinking about if someone is struggling with the mental health at the moment, is there anything that you'd maybe suggest for them to do? Any advice, any tips?
From experience, I mean, you've just got, like, it sounds cliche, but you've just got to push through it. I mean, you've just got to and you've always got to eventually be able to actually go and, you know, because the only person that's going to help you is yourself, and that's like the harsh, like, awful reality. It's like,
it's true though.
Yeah, you've got to one day be like, you know, like, I don't want to constantly, you know, be stuck in a negative cycle of, you know, whatever, like self-medicating or, you know, these like really like toxic coping mechanisms. You don't want to be stuck in a rut. and you want to actually like change your life, and it's
You can
like,
do.
Yeah, you've literally just got to crack on and try and do it, and you will like slip, and you're gonna trip up and mess up. You can't let that just let you fall right down to the bottom. It's just slowly working your way up, and just and obviously the world isn't great either, which also doesn't help because you're not motivated to be like I live in such a great like you can't reassure yourself with like everything's great though like away from me, like I'm not great, but everything, so that also makes it a lot harder because you're like, oh, what's the point in this, or just constantly just like over and over again. But you can 100% like just try to work through it, and obviously with the way the world's going, like you've just got to like have that sort of like almost not delusional, but sort of like that.
Just go
that positivity that might not actually come from anywhere other than you've just got to create it yourself, and just be like, things like you don't know what's going to happen in a couple of years. You don't know what's going to happen. You could be a completely different person and be like, I learned so much about finding the best way to work through whatever you're going through, and that's different for everyone. And, there's no particular way I could ever tell someone that.
Just get better.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah.
Just have a bath,
just
walk.
just be happy.
Have a cup of tea.
No,
But in all seriousness, it is also like about speaking to people. You don't have to speak to them about like whatever's going on with you at the time. Just get yourself away from whatever it is that's causing problems.
Yeah, because sometimes the worst thing is being in your own head. So if you've got other people around you, no matter who it is, just literally just to chat about random things. It could be literally anyone. Just
talk to them about mushrooms.
Exactly. Just talk to them about what's you like chestnut? Do you just like white mushrooms? What's your favourite mushroom? And but literally anything could just take, and you could just spiral into a conversation, and whatever like downward spiral you may have just been having could just go away, and then you could come back an hour later and go, oh my god, I was literally having a full-on mental breakdown. And if you get distracted, and just distract yourself for long enough, that can be enough time to sort of try and rationalise your thoughts.
I literally just need to build off what Rob said. You've just got to just stick around, man. It's really hard, and I've been there, and I was there for years, and the reason why I wanted to reshoot this interview is because the place I was in back then was horrendous, and I just didn't reflect what's going on now. But I think that's just evident that shit can get better. The world is not better, but I think I'm okay, and I'm I feel like I was ready to be happy. I wasn't for a very long time, and it's fucking hard, and I feel you, and I'm so sorry. And the help isn't there, and it's rough and it's difficult, and I understand firsthand, and I feel for you. But you've just got to stick it out, because I know it might feel really easy to just let it all go, but it isn't worth it. It honestly isn't worth it, because there's so much stuff I would have missed out on now. The most amazing shit in my whole life that I would have missed out on, and the tiniest things as well that I would have missed out on if I had have just let it get to me. And it's really hard, and you just distract yourself and comfort yourself and stick it out, because it gets better. It does. I'm living proof for it. I'm alright. Didn't think I was gonna say it, but I am. Just try, man. Just hang in there in any way you can. If you wake up and do nothing, but you're still awake at the end of the day, you've done it, man. That's all you need to do. So please stick around. Please hold out, because I promise you, you'll get better even if everything else doesn't. That's all I can say.
And it is hard, because I've known people that they're not here today because they've had it so hard that it's got to that point, and but that's just a part of life as well. That's the truth. Some people will struggle to the point where they don't want to be here, and it's a lot of the point. But and there's those people that will push through, and you can be someone who eventually gets through it, and and you might, I'm not going to be 100%, for the rest of my life, but, I know that I can push through it, because it builds up with time as well, because especially when you're younger as well, that obviously doesn't help, and when the world's just crashing, ever since, COVID happened, the world's crashing down around you. Some people don't get to have, the good things as well, because they didn't push through and stuff, so it's just live on for them.
Live on for the people that need you to. Like, people always say it's really selfish. It isn't selfish. It's not a selfish thing to do. If life is that shit that you don't want to live it, man, you know, you probably clung on as long as you can. And there's no shame in that, but please don't. Like, please stay. Because there's a lot of people that will love you and do love you and will need you and need you now. And there's things that you need to do, whether that's massive things or tiny little things.
Yeah, just whatever it takes to stay.
Yeah.
Is the main thing.
So if you told me 2.5 years ago that I'd be where I am now and back then, I'd have just laughed. Because it's just that's the thing. It's just it's like really like no, like nothing's gonna get better and blah blah blah. And but it can. Just sometimes bad things can happen. And but from those like really awful things you can get like the best things in life. And it's just, you know, it's such a dichotomy. I think that's the word.
That's a big word.
Yeah.
It's a big word.
The duality of man here.
Definitely. I think like the way you have put it is quite poetic and beautiful as well.
We are artists.
So do you just want to just talk a little bit about what's up and coming, anything that you're excited about, what we should be looking out for?
Yeah.
Super Mario movie's coming out.
Super Mario.
We're excited about that.
No. We have our brand new EP, Pyro Kid, coming out on the 5th of May. It's available for pre-order on Hot Pink vinyl right now.
Hot Pink.
It's gorgeous. But we've got a new EP coming out 5th of May. Really excited about that. It's called Pyro Kid, and it'll be out on all major platforms on Slam Dunk Records. We're doing a couple EP launch shows across the country. We're writing cool stuff, and we have lots of cool stuff coming and secret things. But yeah, thank you for sticking with us. And if you made it to the end of this interview, go stream our discography.
Please.
Now.
Thanks.
Thank you very, very much. Just want to do a little bit of an announcement myself. Announcements. Thank you. So, Mad Millennials will be at Slam Dunk Festival, so we're doing the North and the South. So it's basically just going to be a bit of a safe space for people to be able to hang out, if you're feeling a bit overstimulated, if you just need to take a little bit of time out, if you want to come and talk about mental health, if you want to come and hang out and chill, come and find us, and yeah, just come and live, laugh, love with us.